and welcome to the Committee of the Whole meeting for the Sunshine Coast Regional District for Thursday, June the 12th, 2025 at 9:30 a.m. And I'd like to acknowledge that we are within the territories of the Sechelt and Squamish Nations. And looking at the screen, it is a whole new electronic world out there. Instead of our usual Zoom Hollywood squares, we are now showing you the whole board table and the whole staff table and the backs of the heads of the delegation. This is a new meeting software that we have not tried out before called eScribe, and this is our first kick at this can, so there may be some pauses for technical assistance for all of us, including the chair, who is looking in panic at a new display. So, we have an agenda before us. Do we have any changes to the agenda? If not, do I see a motion to adopt the agenda? Moved. Seconded. All in favor? We have an agenda. Awesome. I would also appreciate a motion to receive all reports and communications. Moved and seconded. All in favor? Good. We have our agenda, and the first item on the agenda is a delegation from the Capilano Students' Union. And perhaps you, the delegation, would like to introduce yourselves. Thank you.
Good morning, and thank you for taking the time to have us present today. My name is Mehirveen Manchanda, and I'm Vice President Finance and Services of the Capilano Students' Union.
My name is Vansh Kalra. I am the Vice President External of Capilano Students' Union, and we represent over 10,000 students across the Capilano University's North Vancouver, Squamish, and Sunshine Coast campuses. So our role as a student union is to advocate for policies that improve students' experiences, whether that ensuring access to education, affordability, or equity in public services.
And
Why we are here? Oh, sorry.
just a quick question to staff. How do we get the slides up? Aha! Ta-da! This is wonderful. All right, proceed.
Why we are here? Today, we are here to discuss expanding the Sunshine Coast S-Pass to include post-secondary students, a move that would support students, the local economy, and promote sustainable transportation. Right now, the S-Pass provides fare-free transit to secondary students on the Sunshine Coast, but the post-secondary students, a group who also face significant financial challenges, are left out. A little bit of background on how we got here. Our push for improved student transit affordability isn't new. Back in December 29, the Capilano Students' Union sent a letter to the Sunshine Coast Regional District advocating for an affordable transit pass for students. This issue was also discussed at the SCRD board meeting in February 2020, and there seemed to be an interest in discussing and exploring further solutions. However, with the arrival of the COVID-19 public health emergency, the discussions were put on hold. Since then, we have seen continued student-led advocacy, particularly by secondary school students, which led to the creation of the S-Pass program this past fall. Now that the program exists and has been proven to be successful, we believe it's time to extend it to include post-secondary students who are equally in need of transit support.
So, what is the S-Pass? The S-Pass was officially launched last fall after years of advocacy from students. It provides fare-free transit on SCRD buses for young people aged 13 to 18 who are attending secondary school on the Sunshine Coast. To qualify, students need either a school-issued ID or another government-issued ID such as passport or driver's license. This year's S-Pass is valid until 31st October 2025, and we are hoping post-secondary students could start accessing the S-Pass upon program renewal on November 1st of this year. The introduction of the S-Pass has been a huge success, providing students with better access to education, work, and community activities We believe it's time for post-secondary students to enjoy those benefits too. Why expand the S-Pass to post-secondary students? Post-secondary students also face significant financial barriers. Tuition is rising, housing costs are skyrocketing, food prices are increasing, and many students who have families are juggling the cost of childcare and their education. The current cost of an adult monthly pass is $60 that could be used to purchase food instead. Expanding the S-Pass would reduce financial strain and make it easier for students to go to school without worrying about how they'll afford to live. Post secondary students are also a part of the local economy. They work in local businesses and shop in local stores, participate in local community life. Expanding access to free public transit ensures they can afford to participate. Transit access also makes it easier for students to take on part time jobs, internships, and volunteer roles, benefiting local employers and their future careers. Expanding the S-Pass would promote sustainable transportation choices. More students take transit means fewer cars on roads, reduced emission, and less congestion. Public transit system operate more efficiently when ridership is maximized. So including post-secondary students helps build a stronger, more sustainable system for the future.
Budget impact. One of the biggest questions around expanding the S-Pass is cost, and we want to be clear the budget impact is minimal. Even in a scenario where every single current Capilano student at the Kaila High campus used the pass, the maximum cost would be $108,000 per year. However, based on CAPU casual surveying, only about half of the students use public transit. This suggests that the actual financial impact could be closer to $72,000 per year. However, they also observe that most students only come to campus 2 to 3 times per week and use day pass instead of the monthly passes. Taking this into account puts the lost revenue closer to $36,000 per year. For a relatively low cost, this expansion would have a high return in student support, economic participation, sustainability benefits, and transit ridership. Our ask. We are asking the SCRD to consider expanding the S-Pass to include post-secondary students. This would align with the original goals of the program, ensuring students can access education and opportunity without transportation barriers. It would be a small investment that makes a big difference for students and the broader community.
Thank you for your time today and considering this proposal. We appreciate the work SCRD has already done to improve transit access for students, and we believe this is the next logical step in making transit more equitable and accessible. We would love to discuss any questions or concerns you may have and explore how we can work together to make this a reality.
Thank you very much. Just 1 second while I open another panel. I hate to mention this, but when I was going to then Capilano College, and I'm not going to say when, the Students' Union was advocating with BC Transit for bus passes. So this has a fairly lengthy history. I just had one question, and that is the S-Pass is administered through the school district. So they partner with us. Have you had a discussion with Capilano University as to whether they would be willing to do the groundwork to support this?
Thank you to the chair for the question. My name is Chris Girardat. I'm the executive director over the Capilano Students Union. We haven't discussed this with the school district. Our conversations so far have included some conversations with BC Transit, though, and so they've offered to play some coordination with us in order to bring all of the parties together. But we have not been in direct contact with the school district.
Sorry, not the school district, but Capilano University, because they know who their students are.
Yes, Capilano University is well aware of our advocacy on this. We are here with their blessing as well and well wishes for our proposal today. And so yes, they're an ally in pushing for this.
Thank you. Do the directors have any questions? And can you use the little button I don't see the speaker's queue.
Click on the flashing thing.
Ah. No, something's wrong here.
Did you click the hand?
I'm not, speakers.
I don't see it in the speakers list.
Oh, wait, there's funny flashing lights happening here. I think I have Director Inkster first. Okay,
So thank you, Chair. I think it waits until you're ready to give me the big button to push, and that's what happened, because I'd already selected it, but it didn't, it ignored me. So, which Chair, I'm used to being ignored, but here I am. Anyway, I just have a few questions for the three of you. Now, obviously, the budgetary figures you gave to us would be different for us on the Sunshine Coast, because that's a large amount. So that's obviously North Vancouver, West Van bus services. So our effect is much less. But I'm thinking, was your proposal to be for full-time students? That's my first question. Not just students, but full-time students, because I think the school one, most of them are full-time. The other question I was going to ask you is, when I went to one of the universities, and by the way, I went to CAP on the side. Don't tell my university that, but so I know both schools. But when I went, there was an amount on our student fees for buses, and it was a way that the student society lobbied the university to include that on the fees to encourage people to get out of their cars. So it was included in fees, and you got it whether you wanted it or not, but it encouraged transit usership a number of years ago, sort of a local move to get people in buses and on SkyTrain. Have you considered that?
So on the UPass BC program, which is the program between TransLink, the university, and the Students' Union, yes, you're right, it's about $46 a month. Transit fare prices in the TransLink service region are very different, so that is still a really significant subsidy. We have looked at all sorts of options in order to improve access for post-secondary students here. Why we looked to the S-Pass in particular is because the infrastructure is already there, and it seemed like the next logical step to simply expand that using that existing program. We are open and willing partners in any way to improve transit affordability for our students at Capilano University. We would hope to include all post-secondary students in the program, whether part-time or full-time, regardless of the mode that's chosen. That's our approach in North Vancouver as well. Any student taking one or more courses is mandatorily included in the program. So that would be our what we would hope for.
Thank you very much. I'm struggling with technology, don't mind me. Director White.
First, thank you for coming and presenting. I think it's really important to recognize that our students here on the Sunshine Coast are being well represented by their student union here, and including making the effort to come over and advocate for them. And just on that, though, I just have a question about the Sunshine Coast. These Sunshine Coast students, have any of them are any here today? Are any directly involved in this advocacy effort with the Students' Union? And I see the survey happened.
We do not really have any students with us today, but being part of the Capilano Students' Union, we are here representing all 150 of them here. Also, you were right about the survey. The survey that was conducted directly involved them. So all the figures and estimates that we have are based on the students studying at the Sunshine Coast campus.
Thanks. And I just also, I'll take the opportunity to clarify, because I think my understanding from your presentation, those numbers are based on Sunshine Coast students. I heard the Director Inkster got something else out of that, and I didn't hear him corrected. So I just want, I'll try correcting. Is that confirmed that those numbers were a survey of Sunshine Coast students was my
Yes,
reading?
yes, these
okay.
assumptions are exclusively on the trends that we learned in that survey for Sunshine Coast students specifically.
Just more on. Oh, I pressed the wrong button, I guess. Yeah, so Director Inkster, I was going to raise the same issue about the UPass, the questions about the UPass, and yeah, I recall that model as well, where, and it still exists today, where student fees subsidize the students who do use. Everybody is charged a student fee, and then those help pay for the use that actually happens, and that's another model. I appreciate you said you're looking at that model as well, but I mean, it gets to an equity question for me. If all students are having to pay for that, and then it goes towards TransLink passes on the Lower Mainland, are Sunshine Coast students having to pay for the UPass as part of their student fees, and then they can't even benefit from it?
Thank you, through the chair, for the question. Students on the Sunshine Coast are not charged UPass BC fees. They are specifically exempt from that fee. The exception is if a Sunshine Coast student is also taking a class in Metro Vancouver, in which case, for UPass purposes, they would also be considered a Metro Vancouver student. So there is one possibility for overlap, but generally, if they're only taking classes on the Sunshine Coast, there is no fee assessed for UPass.
Thanks for that clarification.
Thank you. Director Stanford.
Thank you, Chair. I'm trying to figure out how to unselect myself for speaking because those were the questions I had. So I'll pass. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Bax.
My question is, has the provincial government entered into this conversation through the Ministry of Education or the Ministry of Transportation? And are there, because they did create the free transit for youth, the 13 and under, province-wide at one point, and now we've gone ahead and created a free transit for the high school students. Now, I understand that there's a relationship with the student union and the fees, what these gentlemen were talking about. So is there any funding or any movement at the provincial level that you know of?
Thank you. Through the chair, the ministry is not currently a partner in this specific conversation. Yeah, they're not yet.
Thank you very much. The question queue is now empty. So I'd like to thank you very much for coming to educate us and also be part of our learning experience this morning with new technology. So thank you very much. We appreciate it. Okay, next up on our agenda is corporate work plan outstanding directives. And in addition to our agenda, we have supplementary documentation here. I think I'm going to turn this over to staff for an introduction on what we are doing this morning.
Yes, thank you, Chair. So this particular item was forwarded to this meeting as from our subsequent adoption of our corporate work plan. And so this was an outstanding housekeeping item that we've been working on through those iterations to finalize our board directives. So when we started this process back last July, we were doing an inventory of past directives that dated back to 1998. So here we are concluding that work. And so this is the finalization to try to incorporate some of these directives in either the corporate work plan. Staff did a subsequent review after publication and has added some comments in there. And so hopefully that can guide the discussion. Some of these items are still in progress or are considered to be part of subsequent projects. So they could be superseded by a project, such as, say, the recreation needs assessment. So there's been past directives. So those are the types of things that are in front of you here. So there's about 43 in front of you here. I think we started with about 600 through this process, so I think we've done a pretty good job getting this far. This is also not something that has traditionally come to the board. I think it never has come to the board. We typically, the board makes motions, those directives get compiled, and board act or staff act on them. And so this is potentially a process coming forward in the future to make sure that through each new board, or at least once per term, that we're going to do some type of this process to ensure that we surface past directives with elected officials, because we haven't done that. So again, and making sure we're resourcing them and that there's acknowledgement and tracing of those items. So we have various notes in here as well to help guide the discussion, and staff are here to help answer any subsequent items that you might need detail on. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And despite having warned everybody that we were going to pull things, I honestly, we had so many questions about so many of these directives that I think, unfortunately, we're going to have to go through them one at a time. I will suggest, however, that our default position is it's deemed to be closed. So if there is no check mark in the box, let us assume it is deemed to be closed unless directors have concerns that it shouldn't be closed. So I'm going to start with the first three that are from 2012 and 2013. Does anybody see a reason that those three, 1, 2, and 3, should not be deemed to be closed? I'm not seeing any real or imaginary hands.
She wants to talk about the library service.
Director Gabius.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. Just a question. I'd like to know the rationale for number 2 for the library function, since it's, over 10 years ago. What was the rationale at the time to explore this? I mean, I'm asking you, but to staff, if they...
I suspect that staff may not know, but I will inquire as to whether anyone knows.
Well, I think from a procedural perspective, if there's any that the directors want more information, then a pass motion would have to happen. Some of these are quite old, and so it may be difficult for us to fully understand the context, especially because back then we weren't recording meetings. So we only have minutes. We don't have like live recordings like we do now. So it would be more difficult for the older ones to really get the full context. We could pull staff reports and whatnot, but might not get all the nuance.
Yeah, I think if the subject needs to be revisited, we could start again with a fresh new motion. So, okay, first three down. The fourth one I was a little puzzled about because I thought that we had some sort of policy or practice for sale of fleet vehicles. So, question to staff, do we have a policy in place?
There's a practice, but not a policy. And so this is where it's not hardlined, and there may be operational decisions that are made. I know with some fire trucks, sometimes they keep them and then deploy them, but there's operational impacts to that. So I know that through our fleet review, this may be something that's addressed through there.
And I think the fleet review is the appropriate place for it. So as far as I'm concerned, this could be deemed to be closed. Let me see. Next one. Anybody question on item 5? If not, we'll keep going. Item 6, bequests. Are people lining up to give us money?
Of late, we have been receiving more of these. We don't solicit for them back. I do know the context of this one. I was here for that one. There was a motion for us to potentially, maybe not the word advertise, but definitely say that that's an option in estate planning. We've not done that. I don't know how appropriate that would be, but we have been receiving and being signaled or having more conversations in this nature.
So do we have a procedure in place when somebody offers or makes a bequest? How do we handle it?
Each one is unique, and so they might be very different. We've had people want to offer up different type of land. Sometimes it's not even part of estate planning, it's part of when people are living. So they're all dealt with individually. Typically, the CFO oversees most of those, whether or not there's some legal implications, and we'll bring in lawyers, et cetera. So, and of course, the board has to also concur if there are service implications potentially.
Director Inkster.
Chair, that's an interesting one for me, the one you just brought up, the 6, sorry. I mean, I wonder how many people know that local government takes donations. That's where that is for me, is I bet you a lot of people don't know that and there are a number of groups locally that are often looking for money for community foundation, hospital foundation. There's people out there, and we have received some money recently. So there's people out there that are looking to bequeath money, especially if they don't have heirs, to a particular organization. So what's our approach to that? How do we make sure the public knows that we, in some cases, are also a charity? And we'd like land.
Well, we can issue charitable tax receipts, however, under certain circumstances. So, Director Bax.
Yeah, my question is, if there is no policy or procedure in place, does this give staff, does this make it easier for staff to deal with these things one-on-one? If we do create a policy for this, is it going to make it more difficult for staff? I'm just looking to see what's going to make it easier for our staff to deal with these items.
I'm just going to note that the motion was to create a program, a legacy bequest program, which is something different, I think. And given that we have over 200 items on our list of projects, I'm not sure that this one would come to the top of the list. Anyone else? Director Inkster, are you residual?
That's an extra piece. How do I know to get rid of that? Because I'm not, my light's not on. Okay, I can put my light on to ask the question. How do I get rid of that? Because do I just push the button again? Is that what I do?
Yeah, how do you take your hand down after you've requested?
Push it again?
It says delete. It'll come up delete.
Yes.
There's a check mark on your screen of
Yes.
speakers, and you can check it off and it removes them from the list.
Oh, I have to do it.
We don't have a speakers list.
But the speakers cannot take themselves off the list. Oh, they can. Okay. Awesome.
Probably click that view request to speak thing.
Chair, I just did that because I
Yes.
assumed you just push it again.
Perfect.
But I didn't know
Okay.
that. Yeah.
Now we are proceeding. I'm going to keep going on the, what do you call it? Deemed to be closed program unless there is a significant objection. Okay, next one, 7, North Thormanby Island. This is in progress. So, I'm just procedurally, I think I'll come back to all of the deemed to be in progress ones later. So next, McNair Creek. Number 8 is no longer required, so if we can close that one. Number 9, water sourcing policy framework is in progress. So we can leave that under the in progress column. Next one, BC Transit Annual Operating Agreement Draft Budget. This actually doesn't make any sense because the motion is to update the 2019 to 23 financial plan. So I would think, I'm going to ask staff, I'm thinking that we could dispense with this.
It's in relation to the, and further that, staff bring forward a report on the feasibility of defining the bus shelter program. So everything that precedes that, it's that last one that it doesn't satisfy all of the elements of that particular directive. So it's
Okay, then we will deem that in progress and move on to item 11. Playing fields, there is a playing field strategy underway right now, so this is superseded. Item 12, also playing fields, also superseded. Sorry, I've got multiple documents open here. And it is completed, so can be closed. Number 14, Bargain Bay is in progress, so we'll mark that as in progress. 15, corporate space planning. So do our local governments collaborate in space planning?
the short answer is yes. We're doing some conversations, say with our transit space planning, Mason Yards, etc. This particular one had a genesis related to a project that is no longer in progress, but definitely we continue to have discussions, and even with the District of Sechelt having their space survey coming out right now, I mean, the SCRD has been engaged in that discussion.
Thank you. I think we can deem this to be closed at this time. Number 16, service level priorities. I think that we could deem this one closed because I can't see of an urgent reason. Next one, AAC minutes. Let us deem that closed unless there's anything else on that. Islands Trust joint meeting of November 2019. Perhaps we can deem this closed. Director Stanford?
Thank you, Chair. I think these are just topics we can then put forward to a future Islands Trust SCRD joint meeting and bring them up again.
Are we due for another Islands Trust joint meeting?
Yes, we are.
Okay. I shall leave that with you, Islands Trust representative. Item 19, youth appointments. Yes, we talked about that at the time, but I think if we're going to look at it again, we need to start again. So can we drop that one, please? Number 20. This one is noted by staff to be in progress. So unless there's any complaints about that. All right, 21. Overdose prevention. I think we can deem that to be completed. Renaming Halkett Bay. Any comments from our representative from Gambier Island 22?
That's an ongoing project with POMO. So I don't think it's higher or lower, but it is active with our ports committee.
Okay, so we'll mark that one as ongoing. 23, Pender Harbor Living Heritage Society, that is noted as in progress. 24, long-term borrowing for water meter installation. And why is this on the list? Oh, it's completed. All right, fine. Okay, and the Seashell landfill cost analysis is going to be underway as part of the SWMP. All right, 26, Pender Landing wastewater treatment is noted as in progress. 27, the use of biosolids on the landfill is also in progress. 28, wildfire protection plan also in progress. 29, water lease renewal for Keats Landing also in progress. 30, enforcement of landfill disposal regulations, whatever, it's in progress.
Thank you, Chair. My apologies for not finding the button in time, but going back actually to number 28.
28.
Yeah, the wildfire protection plan. If you read the motion here, it's just a send to other agencies for referral. So I'm actually curious as to what makes it in progress. Did we not send the document out?
Through the chair to staff, did we not do this?
Thank you for the question. Staff are unable to confirm whether the referral went, although staff identified that this was presented to the Intergovernmental Emergency Program Committee, and it is a public document on the SCRD website.
If I may, Chair, I would actually suggest that that one be closed because it seems to have been completed.
Thank you. Okay, we will mark 28 as closed. Wonderful. 30, thank you for telling me where we are. Okay, 31 is in progress. It's to do with the foundation agreement. 22, 32, dump truck. Did we not buy the dump truck? That is the question for staff.
We don't believe that the debt's been actioned quite yet. So we can follow up on that one.
Okay, so we'll mark it as in progress for the moment. Okay, that's in progress. Thank you. Wastewater treatment plants. So this is Langdale wastewater treatment plant. So I am puzzled because we did get a grant, and I thought that treatment plant, the upgrades are on our books as happening. So question to staff.
This one is here because the respective funding has not been fully allocated yet. So we don't deem it closed until all of those pieces have been actioned. So it's still in progress.
So in progress. Okay, 34, I'm guilty of this one, snow clearing at bus stops. Unfortunately, the motion was not written as well as it should have been. It was in reference to the key bus stops on the transit system, particularly the one in Gibson's, which was absolutely hazardous a couple of years ago in the snow. I would like to deem that closed, and then if necessary, we can return to that subject at a future date. Uh, 35, staff notes that this is in progress, Connected Coast Internet. 36, also in progress, Pender Harbor Golf Club lease agreement. 37, also Pender Harbor Golf Club, also in progress. 38, Junior B hockey deemed to be in progress. 39, Wood Creek Park wastewater is in progress. 40, Mason's Road site lease renewal is in progress. Although I'm going to ask staff about that one too, because we were going to, oh no, it's the existing site. Not, we were trying to get the adjacent site, and that fell through, I remember. But if this is the lease for the existing site, then it is in progress. 41. Could staff explain what this Half Moon Bay landfill license of occupation is? Is there a, I don't know, where's Director Gavias? Do you have a landfill?
I looked it up, actually. I went back to the report, and it's to monitor the old landfill, I believe.
You have a closed landfill, so that is in progress. Thank you very much. So now we're up to the last page. 42, Connected Coast again, which is also in progress. And 43, is deemed to be no longer relevant. So I'm fine with closing that. And again, if we have concerns, we can revisit this subject. So can we make a motion to, how do we want to do this? We've just been through them all. We've declared them. Can we just have a motion to pass them all as we have just discussed?
Yes, Director. So my recommendation would be, and we've identified which ones you've deemed closed.
Yes.
So the motion would be that those directives be deemed closed with no further action. And similarly, when you're dealing with the items in progress, you could make one motion to deal with them all in a block, or you can address them separately if you need to remove some as an exception.
I just have a question, though. The ones that are deemed closed are closed, so they go away.
Correct.
Do we have to do anything with the rest?
No, the ones that are in progress,
Yeah.
actually, if you don't make a motion, they will remain in the database
So
in
they
progress.
remain on the day. So could I have a motion to deem the directives as outlined to be closed?
Those 21 items, yes.
Director Bags, moved. Seconded. All those in favor? Yay. We survived. Okay, next item. Seashell BC Land Use Plan Phase 2 engagement. Over to staff.
Thank you, Chair. So over the last couple of months, the SERD has engaged with the province regarding the Seashell Nation provincial land use planning process. Through that particular engagement, there are some action items that would benefit the regional district and the province in that process. And so staff are working and have been in conversations with the province as far as what our role and what undertakings we need to do. We have in front of you here a request from an additional resources and also to signal formally back to the province that we just need a little bit more time, of which informally we did have a conversation last week. And they're okay with that, just as far as whether or not we can have up till the end of August. So they understand what we need to take back and do on our side, and we'll continue to progress. So,
Thank you. Director Inkster.
Thank you, Chair. This is quite a big process, and a number of us were involved in discussion in reference to it a few days ago. Obviously, staff will need some time to contribute properly. I'm just wondering if staff is hearing from municipal staff, obviously in the encouraged communications that we all like to see between the staffs, whether this is also happening at the municipal level, that they will need more time and in order to properly inform themselves and also contribute to the process.
staff? Had a conversation this morning with CAO, District of Sechelt in particular, just on this item too, and just how they're going to approach it. We've been in dialogues for several months. Each of us, I think, have different types of undertakings. In the case of the regional district, we probably have a much larger sphere, just from not just our parks holding, but all our right-of-ways, et cetera. So that's part of the scope of this work, is really doing an inventory of all the potential properties that could be affected, and also from just the planning perspective, scope of work for things like natural asset inventory and whatnot. So there's interest, maybe not to the same degree so I can't speak as far as resourcing implications to the district, but most certainly we appreciate that this was probably a larger undertaking than we expected in a short duration. And so in our case, we just need a little bit more time.
Thank you. I don't see any further hands. Is there perhaps a motion arising? Director Lee.
Thank you. Normally, I'd just quote a page number to say I'd like to make the motion, but it's page 1 of the current report. I'd like to make a motion to accept the recommendation as outlined on page 1 of the current report.
Thank you. And I see a seconder. Any further questions or comments? Not seeing any. One more, Director Bax.
I just wanted to bring to the public attention that there's a public engagement of availability up to the 23rd of June through the Sechelt Nation.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to call a question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That passes. Next up, Community Excellence Award for decision. Over to CAO.
Yes, thank you, Chair. So this particular item in front of you has been through intergovernmental conversations as we have been working with Sechelt Nation regarding the reservoir and water security projects. And so this is a proposed application to UBCM for 2025. There are, some pros and cons to applying now. We haven't completed the project, so we might be a little bit early in applying, but in front of you for consideration.
Thank you. Let me just be clear. Director Bax, are you new or residual?
New.
Thank you.
I'd like to move the recommendations in item 4.3.
Okay, and I see a seconder. Director Stanford.
Thank you, Chair. I do have some questions about this, and the CAO did bring up that part of the requirement is that the project be substantially completed, which this one is not. So why move ahead on something that we don't fit the criteria? And I'm just wondering how much staff work this will take.
Thank you to staff.
The staff work's done. It took maybe an hour. Definitely, the other part of this is we've approached it, and the discussion has been from a joint application. So this is the regional district, and we need to request and have approval from the Seychelles Nation Council as far as whether or not they want to. So they're the other half of the puzzle of this. So the application, the draft application has been submitted. If the board didn't approve it, we can always renege the application with UBCM. We did speak to UBCM about that and just letting them know just based on our timing. So yeah, if it wasn't approved, then they're fine. We'd collapse the application.
Thank you. Follow up.
Again, I didn't really feel like my question was answered, is why apply for something that we don't meet the criteria for necessarily, as this project is not completed or even substantially completed.
Staff.
Thank you, Chair, and my apologies. Yes, so as far as the application and the approach that was taken was not necessarily from the completion of a project, but it was in the nature of the collaboration. It was in the spirit of working together versus accomplishing like the construction. So that was the approach of the application. And
Director White?
Yeah, I'm following up on Director Stamford's concerns here. I think the work that's taken place so far has really been significant and commendable on both sides. I do have concerns about that it's still, there are still a lot of challenges to this project, and some might be beyond the control of the local governments in terms of construction, as we all know, just alone. I kind of, just trying to look to the future, I want to positively envision receiving an award at the same time that this project is smoothly going forward and on its way to completion. But we can't be totally sure of that yet. So I mean, this award happens every year. I'd be more comfortable with applying for it when we're closer to having a bigger picture to celebrate.
Director Inkster hasn't spoken yet, so I'm going to go to you.
Thank you. Chair, I have no problem with this. As has been stated in the staff report, I think there's no problem with recognizing and celebrating the collaboration in our SWIA, always and forever, and in future. If we keep collaborating like we're doing successfully and recognizably, we will apply. I would encourage application again. I think this is a good model. I think we've done some good collaboration, and I think we need to be celebrating and recognized for it. Thank you.
Director Toth, you also haven't spoken.
Thank you, Chair. A couple of times I've tried to push the request to speak button. I found I had to push it 2 more times. I was only pushing it 1 more time, so I wasn't getting onto the list. Director Inkster actually said a lot of what I was going to say. I mean, the thing that we forget because we're here and we're living it every day is there are a lot of places in the province that local government and First Nations do not have the relationship that we do here. And I think from that perspective, yes, this specific project has a lot of challenges to move forward, but at the end of the day, this local government and this First Nation partnered together, and we got $117 million out of the Disaster Mitigation and Adaptation Fund, which is the largest grant of its kind. And I think that that speaks huge volumes to the importance of working together. You know, we've said it before, neither of us is going anywhere. And I think the areas of the province that aren't yet where we are, I think this will help highlight to them that they really do need to step up in partnership with their First Nations in their areas. So I am supportive of this application. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm just going to insert myself because I haven't spoken yet either. I am not a fan of awards of any sort, whether they're given out by the Motion Picture Academy or the local government association. And I also feel that it is premature to start congratulating ourselves when we are barely started on this project and have not even broken ground. So I would certainly be favorable if this comes forward a couple of years from now, but I really do think this is extremely premature. Director Bax.
Well, Director Toth covered a lot of ground that I wanted to talk about. I think that staff is right in saying that the work that we've done so far is important and should be recognized. In this particular award, should we be granted it, will bring attention to the work that we've done and inspire, we hope, other local governments and First Nations peoples to collaborate in a similar fashion. And so that, to me, it's not, the point of applying for it this year is not because of the project that we're doing together, but because of the process that we've been going through.
All right, I see no further speakers. No one's. Oh, Director Gabius.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry, I pressed the button not hard enough. Yeah, I think I want to echo what Director Toth and Inkster and Bax said. I will vote in favor of this application and its excellence in governance. So I think I'm assuming that the application makes it clear where we're at in the project, and this is about the collaboration aspect of the project. And if we do not fit the criteria, then it is what it is. But I think it's important to celebrate where we're at right now with this. Again, as Director Toth said, it's pretty unique in the province, and I think it's worthwhile to apply for excellence in governance.
Okay, I see no one in the electronic queue. I see nobody waving desperately at me. So I think it is time to call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? Thank you. That passes. Yep. Okay, next up is the Chester Well Improvement Corporate Officer.
Director McMahon, I just want to clarify the opposition, were they for the record? And was Director Paul's in opposition, or just was it a delay in his hand being raised? If we could clarify that.
Director
for the
Paul,
record.
which way did you vote?
Opposition.
Thank you. And would you like that recorded?
Sure.
Sure. Me too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Director White. Okay. Okay. No, you have to do it by hand for the vote so that our viewing audience can watch us vote. So, okay, well, that's 3 opposed. Thank you. All right. Well, yes, and we can fight it out again at board. That'll be fun. Excellent. Okay, but back to near and dear to my heart, because it's on the same street as me, Chester Well. And over to staff.
Thank you, Chair. The report before the committee today is requesting a budget increase and also a subsequent contract award for the upgrades and repairs necessary to return Chester Well to operational function in time to delay the onset of stage 3. The works, sorry, just for a little bit of background, the project initiated as a project to ensure compliance with the Water Sustainability Act and Vancouver Coastal Health Guidelines for the well, but subsequent equipment failures have resulted in significant urgent repairs being necessary to ensure the well will function this summer.
Thank you. This is a very significant budget lift, which we never like to see at this table. However, I think we are between the proverbial rock and the hard place here because we need the well online. And even if we were to defer this, there is no guarantee that the price would come down, unfortunately. Any questions or comments or motions from directors? Director Toth.
Thank you, Chair. Still surprised that actually worked. I guess the question that I've got is relating to the escalation. Obviously, you know, we can't talk specifics about contracts in the open meeting, and that's totally fine. I'm just looking for sort of a generalized perspective. Like, is it because of the urgent nature of the contract that we're seeing some of these escalations? Like, if we'd had a longer lead time on the contract, things like that, would we have seen lower costs? Thank you.
And I'll add, or is it because it's very specialized work that's highly in demand? Over to staff.
Certainly, through the chair, there is a limited number of contractors that are capable of this work, both on the coast and in British Columbia as a whole. I don't think the schedule has had a significant impact. I think it is just the nature of the work, in particular, the hard-to-source hardware and the specialized nature of the contract.
Thank you. Any further questions? Motions? Director Lee.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the recommendations on page 1 of item 4.4.
Is there a seconder, please? Yes, seconded. Yeah, this page number thing is getting a little old. CAO, please.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to see if the committee had any consideration to move this direct to board today, just from a timeliness, from a water security perspective.
Director Lee.
And that this item be moved direct to the board for today.
And that is seconded. So we have a motion on the floor. All those in favor? Any opposed? Seeing none, that passes. Thank you very much. And now we get to the cemetery. Seaview Cemetery expansion, and thank you to staff for including the map of the cemetery, which always helps when we are discussing this. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Chair, and good morning, everybody. This report provides an update to this committee on the Seaview Cemetery expansion project. The purpose of the project is to address urgent needs for in-ground burial spaces and columbarium niches, also to complete conceptual design work for possible future development of the southwest corner of the cemetery, as well as design work for stormwater management. Staff are here to answer questions if there are any. Thank you.
Thank you. I do have a question about the stormwater management, seeing as how it appears that MOTT ran a ditch across our cemetery. Do they have any responsibility for helping us manage the stormwater?
Thank you for the question. They've offered we've sent them the design work that we've done, and they're having a look at it. and they are looking around in that general area at stormwater management. So that's kind of where it is now.
Okay, I could think of more questions too. I mean, it's actually nice to have a little trickling stream with trees going through the cemetery as long as it doesn't flood and start washing out our cemetery. So it's nice to have this update. I've had several inquiries. I don't know if other directors have, but I have had inquiries about the cemetery and how plans are going, and particularly for the Jewish Burial Society and their requirements. So any further questions? Director Inkster, are you residual or are you real? You're real. Wow. Okay.
Thank you, Chair. I'm totally supportive of this, knowing a number of people that have been interred there, and obviously for future. The question, though, through you to staff, it says started in 1937. Coming in from Area E, that seems to be the oldest part of the graveyard, obviously, and if you go in there, it looks like earlier. So I'm just asking, I guess people were moved there before. Do we know that? Do we have the history? People moved there originally when it was started? Because I think the grave markers are earlier than 37 is what I was wondering now that I see the history. Thanks, Chair.
History.
Thank you for the question, and through the chair, I'm not aware of anything before 1937. So thank you.
Okay.
Director Inkster?
Yeah, just there's earlier dates there as far as I remember. So, okay, thanks.
Maybe they put people on a shelf before they buried them for a while. Director Bax, yes, and the cemetery is in Area D, not E.
That's correct. I wanted to make sure that you knew that.
It says right here.
You said E.
Coming from E.
Oh, I see. So the question is, it says in the report that the work's to be completed by Q4 of this year. And when has it begun?
Thank you for the question, and through the chair, work has not begun. It's in the tendering process right now.
Thank you. Any further questions? It's good to get this update. It's much appreciated. So, all right, this is for information. We have no motions. Where we are in the agenda, we have no communications, we have no new business, but we do have an in-camera section of our meeting coming up. I'm going to move that we go in camera, and then I'm going to suggest a 5-minute break while we organize ourselves. Yes, questions from the gallery. Over to our corporate officer.
Thank you, Chair. I see that Connie Jordison from the Coast Reporter is in the gallery, but she has not raised her hand to speak. Now would be the time if she so chooses to ask a question.
And in the meantime, I am going to move that the public be excluded from attendance at the meeting in accordance with Section 91K of the Community Charter. Seconded. All those in favor? Great. And no questions?
No questions from the gallery, Chair.
Right. So we are adjourned. Thank you very much. Thank you. Welcome back to the in-camera, to the open Committee of the Whole meeting of Thursday, June the 12th. Do we have a motion to adjourn? Moved, seconded, all in favor? We are adjourned. Thank you.